What's going on? It is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys. Good morning. Welcome to today's show. It is Thursday. It is July 24th. Could I get a roll tide up inside the comment box? Please let me know where you're watching from inside the comment box. Yesterday, Alabama shared some social media photos of the team getting some work in. And it's hot. It is so hot over here. So I would imagine that those photos were taken in the morning time, but still, like, you wake up. If you're from the South, you know there's not like a gradual warm up. Like, it's just hot. So we'll dive into that a little bit. We'll look at some pictures. We'll zoom in. I'll tell you a couple things that stood out to me. On the back end of the show, I want you guys to have a question for me, okay? So on the back end of the show, I want you to be thinking about a question that you have for me, and I'll put it on the screen and I'll answer you, okay? Give you some time to do that. We'll do some pinwheel today. There's still a little bit of room left for this particular hoodie. All right, we got a good field yesterday, so we'll spin the pinwheel today. Good morning to everybody. Was there anybody in here that watched the stream last night? I jumped on late last night and I played the Iron Bowl on NCAA 26. And we took it to Auburn. They scored like a late touchdown in the back, but we controlled that game. It was 23 to 7 at one point. The team that gave us a problem was the team before. It was the FCS West or whatever, whoever that was. But that was my bad. I didn't have the team in the right mindset. All right, I'll give some shout outs in just a minute. I think a good place to start today's show, and kind of as we turn to next week, and Alabama football practice starts on July 30th, is I think we have to start with the leadership on this team, right? 17 seniors coming back to this year's squad, and that's important to me. And I think that's important every single year as you kind of look to the leadership of that team. And something that go back to what Coach Kalen DeBoer recently said during SEC Media Days is he spoke about the seniority on this team. He said that a lot of these guys continue to take reps together. It's a repetition. It's again and again, right? And it's day-by-day work now that the tracks are laid going into year two, and that they've had, honestly, a wonderful offseason. And I've heard that before, and I think everybody's like, I've never heard anybody say, yeah, we had an absolutely terrible offseason. But, you know, I think these guys are hungry, right? So I'm going to show you some photos here in just a second and kind of illustrate, I think, you know, some of that hunger and how it'll translate. Because, look, August 30th is just around the corner. We flew right through July, right? Practice will start next week on July 30th. And then before you know it, we'll be a week outside of Alabama versus Florida State, which is really interesting because, you know, when you look to this first game, who would have thought that Florida State's quarterback, out of all people, would be talking? And yesterday I played the soundbite. I'm sure you saw it on Facebook or, you know, YouTube or whatever, about, you know, kind of, I think he was like tripling down on the fact that he said Alabama is not the same without Coach Saban. And now he was like, I don't only stand on what I said, my entire team does. And I think, like, the world of college football, honestly, this is important. I think that the world of college football thinks that they can get a piece of Alabama. I honestly do. I think this is a real pivotal year to put people back in their place, because I've never seen the amount of, like, preseason disrespect, or at least teams thinking that they really have a shot to go toe-to-toe with Alabama, right? I think a lot of people think that. And, you know, last year clearly wasn't the best year, 4 losses. But I think they completely think that Alabama fell off. And it starts with the opening quarterback. How many games did Florida State even win? The guy didn't even play. He didn't even start at Florida State. And he's talking, right? And there's been several other guys that are talking as well, thinking that they have a shot at Alabama this year. So kickoff against Florida State, 2:30. It's going to be hot. August 30th, Tallahassee. But it's hot here. It's not like Tuscaloosa's any colder than Tallahassee. It's hot. It's hot everywhere. Right? So yesterday, in case you missed the quote, he said this, and this is Florida State's quarterback, Tommy Castellanos. He said, "We stand on what I said." We, right? I said what I said, and I stand on that. So we'll see. We talked about the line yesterday. I think it's 13.5 for Alabama. That means Alabama's favored by 2 scores. I would imagine they cover that. And yesterday I did explain that I feel that the reason that Alabama does, kind of get past Florida State in week 1 is I think that the second half adjustments, specifically by Ryan Grubb, compounded with the fact that Alabama has some dynamic weapons, that it's going to be too much for Florida State. So I don't know what the score will be. I'm thinking probably like a 38. Man, I'm already doing a score prediction. Holy cow. I'll go with like a 38-17. What does that give us? Because the over-under is like 50. Is that close? Yeah, that's 55, so I'm taking the over. How does that score sound? 38-17, Bama? Good guys, right? Late field goal for Bama was 35-17. Bama kicks a late field goal. Yeah, I like that score, 38-17. I don't know, things can change, but I kind of like that score because the total points is 50 and a half, all right? Yeah, I didn't even know I was going to do a score prediction today, but I did it. So here we go. I didn't have that on the schedule. Yesterday, as mentioned, Alabama released some summer workout photos. You guys see this? It was on their social media account. You got to know this name. Finally, we get to talk about the running backs, okay? This is a bad man right here. I saw just before I jumped on the show, too. I saw an X. There's 44. Is it right? 44% of people think that they could tackle Derrick Henry. What type of morning drugs are people taking? You could not tackle Derrick Henry. Nobody. There is a 0% chance that the normal man could tackle Derrick Henry. Nobody. Like, honestly, all of us inside the comment box, I'm sure we might have played some football, some played college, some played high school, whatever. There is nobody in this chat right now that could tackle Derrick Henry. And you couldn't tackle Jam Miller either, just straight up. Like if they gave you some rent-a-pads from Alabama's Mount Moore facility and they were like, all right, here you go tackle Jam Miller. No, he would do bad things to you. And you would have to take so much Advil that you would be comatose. So look, this is Jam Miller. Jam Miller is every bit of 15 pounds. And this is a bad man, and I think he'll have a very successful season. You got to feed him. He catches the ball very well. You know, he's been here for a long time. And I talked about this yesterday, and I'll bring it up on screen again and be thinking about this is like, who's going to be behind him? Who are going to be the running backs that also contribute? Because I guarantee you, he is absolutely going to get fed. And I think that Ryan Grubb is probably, really excited about utilizing all of the running backs within his scheme. So I always try to hype up Jam Miller because I think he's still a guy that doesn't get the notoriety that he deserves. But the season is right around the corner, and I think he will have a really big season. I don't think that he's going to have a 1,000-yard season. And that's not a knock on Jam Miller as a running back. I just think that there's going to be a lot of mouths to feed, which isn't a bad thing. Keeping these guys fresh is important, but also, as we spoke about yesterday, is making sure that these guys, if they're hot, like, keep them in. Keep feeding him. If the guy gets hot and he's breaking tackles and he's doing his thing, keep him in. Talked about the other running backs. Richard Young is not on this graphic because I think he'll be the second running back on this team. But here's, the other running backs kind of in the arsenal. Daniel Hill, Draylen Washington, Kevin Riley, A.K. Deere. It's a healthy stable of running backs. And again, Richard Young's not mentioned, but you have 6 running backs. And then think about this. When Draylen Washington, he's going to graduate. So is Jam Miller. So slide those guys over. And you got Ja'Vari Barnett and you got Xavier Crowell. So you're still continuing to load. Maybe next year, looking at 2026, I guess Richard Young be the featured guy. And then, I don't know, I get Daniel Hill be a junior at that point. Kevin Riley be a, third-year player. I mean, the running back, the stable of running backs is so underrated here at Alabama. It's crazy. But I think for whatever reason, we kind of think about the running backs under Ryan Grubb that they won't be utilized. All right. Proud dad moment here. All right. This is my beautiful Lacey. So she's at summer camp right now, okay? And I have to brag on her a little bit. Anytime I get to talk about my kids, I'm going to. And I'm proud of each of my children. Caden is 16. He'll be a junior this year. He works at Chick-fil-A. Very proud of him. And this is Lacey, our sweet Lacey. And she's at Camp Skyline. And she got the lead role in Annie. So anybody know, musical Annie? Well, she played the lead role. I'll go full screen on it. She looks so happy, and they don't take like their phones or anything like that. It's just like, they just go up and like be little kids. And I got this photo last night and it just like made my heart melt. So she's very theatrical. Recently she told me, she was like, I want to be a sports reporter. And I was like, are you serious? You just take over the channel, So we're so similar, but I had to brag on her a little bit. I love the photo. Came in last night. So cheers to Lacey, my sweet Lacey. We have somebody watching from Serbia? JG, why are you in Serbia? Special thanks to our friends out in Sonic, West Memphis, Arkansas, Marion, Arkansas, I-55 and I-40 hit. Remember, this Sonic is the first sponsor of the whole year. These were the guys who gave me like an opportunity, so thank you so much. Also, my boy Hunter of Ketchum Travel Agency, 0 booking fees. I have used him before, okay? You literally just text him and he gets the job done. You tell him what you want done. So text him at 334-797-6498 and just tell him what you want, and then he'll just do the rest for you, okay? So tell him that I sent you. We will spin the pinwheel today. This is the item that we will be raffling off. Here's a look at the pinwheel. So you got a pretty good shot. You can still get in the pinwheel if you want. Venmo, Bama_YouTube, Cash App, Bama YouTube. That is $10 today. $10 to enter. 3 opportunities if you want to get in. So this is from Athlete's Thread. Like if you want the gear, just go to Athlete's Thread, buy it. I still can't believe someone's watching from Serbia. That's crazy. Are you, JG, are you serious? That's crazy. Serbia. Who goes to Serbia? What's that train that goes from like through entire, like, it goes from like, I think it goes throughout the entire country of Russia, right? It's like what is that train? Like the Serbian Express or something like that? Wow, JG, that's crazy, bro. What time is it over there? Does anybody know who this is on screen? This is Isaiah Horton, a very important part of Alabama's offense. This was one of the critical gets. I think there was some key pieces from the transfer portal that Alabama brought over this year, and I think Isaiah Horton was one of them. We don't, it's hard to, we can't tell the future on how things are going to happen with Alabama's offense, but I can tell you this with high confidence that Isaiah Horton is going to be an absolute problem for any defense in America. And I think Ryan Grubb will be able to use the big 3 wide receiver. Look, I'm telling you now, I'm telling you now, listen up. These receivers this year will be the best wide receivers collectively that Alabama's had since we had those wideouts that all went in the first round. He's going to be a monster. Just wait. This isn't like a gas up, be like, oh, hopefully this guy comes through. No, he will. He's going to be absolutely dangerous. Pair him, and what it's going to do is it's going to allow Jerry Bernard and Ryan Williams to eat more because this guy is going to draw, he's going to draw defenders. That's what I'm saying, Bama King. What's up, man? Good to see you. Yeah. A very, very dangerous wide receiver. Just wait. I was noticing something, too, on this particular photo over here. So you got Jerry Bernard right here in the center, who I think he's kind of underrated, too, to be honest. And somebody was like, oh, they're wearing bras. No, these aren't bras. And you can go tell people this as well. What this is, and I'm sure you guys know, but this is the catapult system. So the catapult system basically has like an onboard GPS that can tell you how fast the players are running, who's pushing themselves the hardest, right? And they wear something similar during the games so that, let's say, for example, I don't know, Jalen Mbakwe returns like a punt. You could see how fast he was at, his fastest stride. So you could be like, oh, wow, he was like 23 miles per hour. So that's what the catapult system is. Here they are. It looks like the fourth quarter, so they're clearly pushing themselves. But one thing that stood out to me about this particular photo was like, okay, we're used to the Hollywood, right? We're used to like Ryan's big smile, him messing around on social media, him, doing whatever. But like this particular photo is like, I've never seen him look like this. This is when people are talking about Ryan Williams and say that he's a professional, that he's like the guy, this is it. This is the Ryan Williams on the football field. He's dialed in. So look, there's a difference between like Ryan Williams who we see on social media and like the Ryan Williams that we see on the football field. That's a cold photo right there. That dude's dangerous. So I don't know what they're doing in the fourth quarter, but they're pushing themselves. I asked this yesterday, who's going to be wide receiver number 4, and you guys came back when the feedback was Rico Scott or Jalen Hill. I don't have Jalen Mbakwe on this particular graphic or Bubba Hampton. Oh man, I don't know how those guys are going to be utilized. I really don't. And that's not a knock on those players. I think there's just a lot of guys to feed, even like Derek Meadows, the first-year guy who, has something else that none of the wide receivers do, and that's exceptional height. He's 6'6". And I thought he looked amazing during the spring game. Derek Meadows is way better than I thought he was, like when I saw him in real life. So I think that, Bubba Hampton, Jalen Mbakwe, those are guys who are clearly going to, fight for reps. They're part of the depth on this team. I don't know, how they're utilized, but I'm glad I don't have that problem. That's, Ryan Grubb, that he'll do his thing with the guys, but he has plenty of weapons to utilize. And I think these two guys kind of in the center. I mean, even Cole Adams, man. Cole Adams is good. Lazier Brooks is unproven, 100%. But I mean, he was turning heads in spring like crazy, right? Cole Adams, another guy. He's Jerry Bernard's underrated. Cole Adams is underrated. This is Xavier Brown right here, right? Xavier Brown, true freshman last year. So now he's a sophomore. Started every single game at corner, which is the hardest position to play in all of college football. As a freshman, that's wild. And he gets kind of overlooked too because we're excited about the next freshman, which is Dejon Lee, right? This is Parker Brailsford. Let me ask you inside the comment box. Did Parker Brailsford exceed your expectations last year? Yes or no? Thumbs up if he did. Thumbs up if you think that Parker Brailsford exceeded your expectations. For me, thumbs up, 100%. I didn't think he was going to be that good. But he was damn good. He was steady. He was healthy. Really good at his craft. I didn't think he'd be that good. I was like, dang. I was like, this guy's undersized. He's gonna get pushed around. He's gonna be like a weak spot. But he wasn't at all. Like, he was a bright spot. He was consistent. He probably look. This is gonna be crazy. I think he might be the best center that we've had here since I've covered the team. Since what? Wow. Since Landon? Landon can play a variety of positions, but I don't know who. Let's think of the centers here. Ross Pierce-Baker, he was a giant. Bradley Bozeman was actually really good. Landon Dickerson, Parker Brailsford. We haven't had too many centers. I'll have to think about that. And Parker's up there. He's a lot better than I thought he was going to be. Be thinking about that, chat. Best center that we've had since like, what, 2000 and how long have I been here? 2017? Yeah, so he's probably the best center, I guess, that we've had since, 2017. So I think Landon and then Parker. I didn't think about that. I was like, huh. This is Deontay Lawson. You can't see it in this particular shot, but if you look at the original photo posted by Alabama Football, you can see that he is wearing kind of a sleeve on his, I think it's his right leg, and that is a leg that he had ACL. Now, I said, and I continue to say that if he was healthy, he should have, he'd be in the NFL. There was some feedback inside the comment box that said, they didn't feel he's a NFL type guy. I really disagree with that. I think a healthy Deontay Lawson, is a top tier player. And you look at the leadership, he's that guy. Like every year you're like, who's going to be that guy? Well, I think this year it's going to be that guy. And I pray that the kid can stay healthy. Now, the good thing about the inside linebacker position is you don't have to lean entirely on Deontay Lawson, right? You don't have to just pray and hope that he's kind of the only inside linebacker. And I would imagine that he's 100%, but let's say he's like 90%. Well, what you can do is you can get him 100% throughout the season by playing Nikhil Green and Justin Jefferson, and I don't know, maybe a couple younger inside linebackers as well, right? I know Abdul Sanders had a hell of a year. But I think this will be a solid year for Deontay, and he's not overly vocal, but those are the most dangerous cats. The guys who you don't want to mess with are the guys that they don't really talk, because a lot of people who talk is just kind of hype. It's not really hype with this dude. I love that they brought him to SEC Media Day. How about this? Does anybody know who this is? Does anybody know who this is? This is Bray Hubbard. All right. So it's good to see Bray Hubbard putting in the work. The safety should be really good this year. I think that Bray Hubbard, along with, Keon Sabb, I'm curious to see who else will be back there, as kind of the number 2 safeties. If it'll be Zay, or they'll keep him at Husky, or if he'll kind of swap between. And same thing with Drake Kirkpatrick, right? But man, this dude's it, man. It's him. High impact man. Bray Hubbard's it. But I think Bray's like what? 215? 210? And this dude can hit. Yeah, Sean the Explorer, Ocean Springs finest. Yeah, Mississippi. This dude's a baller. And the thing about him is he plays at a very high level. And he's one of those players that makes everybody play better. When he got in, the defense just played better. It was like the weirdest thing. Someone asking about Red Morgan inside the comment box. Yeah, I saw that Red Morgan will be playing more corner, so we'll see how he does. I don't know where the comments go. Let me get the comments on the screen real quick. Take me 1 second. Be thinking about the questions that you have for me, because that portion of the show is coming up here in just a second. 1 second. I have to get the comments. I don't know. Sometimes I can get them on the screen. Sometimes I can't. And sometimes when I'm on the back, it's I'm coding, so I can't completely multitask all at the same time. Let's see. Yeah, so be thinking about the questions that you have for me. Oh, here it is. Should be good. There we go. Yeah, I think Red Morgan's probably going to play more corner. And then the Husky position will be kind of, down to these guys right here. I think Deshaun Jones probably, the favorite to start at that position. Drake Kirkpatrick, I don't know. I think Cam Calhoun might be the guy at the end of the day. And then Zay Mincy. I think he could be Husky or a safety, right? Yeah, Ricky Smith, you're feeling. Look at this. I don't even know where obviously San Francisco, but this is a San Francisco trolley cable car mug. Man, I haven't been to San Francisco in a long time. I used to love going there. I went there as a kid a bunch of times. All right, where's that graphic? All right, so portion of the show is, and we'll do the pinwheel here in just a little while. If you have a question for me, if you have a question about the team, something that's on your mind, post it up inside the comment box. I'll put it on the screen and I'll talk about it for a few minutes. So yeah, I didn't even really know that coffee cup was from San Francisco. All right, here's a question. Let me see if I can make this a little bit better. All right, so here's the question from Bama King to lead us off, right? And he says, Kyle, do you believe that the NFL experience that Grubb has now will amplify his offensive play calling now that he's back in college? I think, yeah. I think that's a really this is a really good question. And I think once you go to the NFL, right, even if it was for the year, and even Coach Kalen DeBoer said this, is I think it gave him so much experience because you're really going up against the best athletes in the entire world, right, in the NFL. And while he might not have been productive in running the football within Seattle's scheme, I think what we saw him do from a passing perspective was really tremendous. I mean, Geno Smith had the most passing yards in his entire career. And if you talk to Geno Smith, he has nothing but positive things to say about Ryan Grubb. Seattle fans, didn't really like him. It didn't really work out. But it's worked out with Coach Kalen DeBoer. So I think that added year of going to the NFL, and honestly, I think it has also helped Coach Kalen DeBoer as well, because those guys were separated from each other. Now that they're back, I think they're like, look, there's familiarity here. We know what we're doing. You went to the NFL. What did you learn? Bring it here. So, yeah, absolutely. It'd be like playing a year on Heisman and then coming back and playing like a year on All-American. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, 100%. I think him being in the NFL will certainly help him in college, 100%. Kyle, you ever been to Buena Vista Cafe in San Francisco? No, I have not. I've been to San Francisco a bunch of times. I told you that my cousin used to play for the San Francisco Giants. So when I was young, I used to go out. They lived in Foster City at the time. They still played at Candlestick. But I would go to San Francisco when I would go down to Fisherman's Wharf. I've been to Alcatraz a couple of different times. I had a relative that also lived in San Francisco, so I went to Golden Gate Park and, I think what was the beach that I went out to a couple different times. So yeah, I've been to. My mom used to work in Sacramento as well. So I'm a Too Short guy, rapping forte. I love me some West Coast hip hop as well. It's particularly like Bay Area, right? I mean that sort of hip hop is different from like Southern Cali. I don't think you guys know rapping forte, do you? All right. Kyle, thoughts on Kirk Cignetti and his comments that were made yesterday? Were you talking about like the conferences in terms of like teams should have the same, or conferences should have the same games? I mean, yeah, they should, but they're not going to. And the other problem is with college football is the fact that Notre Dame's not even a part of a conference. So Notre Dame, like they can just do whatever they want. That's why I've always said this. It won't happen. But Alabama football theoretically could just drop out of the SEC, play a week schedule, still get on NBC so you get your contract money, keep all the money. Think about this. If Alabama makes a run in the college football playoffs, they have to split that money with the SEC. Well, if they're independent and they made a run in the SEC, guess who gets to keep that money? They do. So like Notre Dame has it completely figured out. So Big Ten, SEC, they don't like each other. I would imagine at some point in time they're part of some super conference, but I have no idea. All right, Kyle, I used to live in San Francisco. Yeah, that's what's up, man. You ever been to Coit Tower? Who's been to Coit Tower? What about what's the street that goes like it's a zigzag street? How can I not think about this? I can't believe I thought of Coit Tower. All right, Kay says, finish the sentence. Alabama wins the national title if consistent quarterback play. Yeah, I think consistent quarterback play, will be the determining factor of this team. And I think if they get consistent quarterback play and somebody that can really distribute the football out to all the weapons that Alabama has, I think that the defense will be good enough, to put these guys in a really good position. Now, you could also say this, Kyle, finish this sentence, if the special teams matches the defense and the offense. Because if you have like a 95 offense and a 95 defense and your special teams is like, an 80? That could put them in some tight spots. So hopefully the special teams isn't kind of one of those pitfalls that we've been thinking about. Mel's drive-through, San Francisco, never heard of that. But I did really go to a really cool Peruvian place. And there was another time that I went out to San Francisco. Remember when Alabama played Clemson? I think that's the last time I went out there. And so we went out, and I got food poisoning when I was out there. And I was on the train going from Santa Clara down to San Francisco. Anybody did that train ride? It's like an hour train ride. It was the worst experience of my entire life. Tide is Rising says this, well, if Castellanos feels he has a valid point after watching what Oklahoma and Vandy done to us, we simply could not stop the option offense. I'm telling you, Malzahn is going to run the option. Yeah, probably so. Yeah, I think that's a good point out. And one of the things that, Tommy Castellanos could talk, but Gus Malzahn, he is, he's beat Alabama before. He is a really good offensive coordinator. No, 100%. And if I'm going to Alabama, they have a lot of players returning last year. They have the same defensive coordinator. I might do that exact same thing. Dan Caraway says this, what team scares you the most this season out of all conferences, and why? I just stay like on Alabama's football schedule. I think playing on the road at South Carolina, I've talked about that for many different reasons. I think those guys are just going to be really good. The game at the back end of the season, Auburn, always scares me just because it's just a weird game. Those games are on the road. Alabama has really challenging road games. Teams I'm not really buying into right now, and I know a lot of the national media has. I'm not really buying into Clemson. I'm not really buying into Penn State. I don't know. I don't see those teams as I could be wrong. I think Clemson does have a lot of key components, but I'm just not buying anything from the ACC. I've seen it too many times that it just doesn't work out. Curious about which team will rise out of the Big 12 and, Big 10. I think kind of the usual suspects with Ohio State, being that team if they can get solid quarterback play as well. Let's see what else we got. How long do you think you'll be able to keep Kane Womack? I don't know. That's a really good question. I think Alabama football fans, this is something that we have to, think about is I think you keep Kane Womack longer than you keep Ryan Grubb. It's kind of a double-edged sword. So, like, if Ryan Grubb comes in here and he absolutely does work, and this offense is like, exceptional, and you get consistent quarterback play, and they slice it up and they make a run, Ryan Grubb will be gone after this season. I really think he will. Kane Womack probably be the guy that you can keep here a little bit longer because he'll probably get some offers, but I don't think he'll get anything major. I think Ryan Grubb would get like something monumental. Like think about it. If Lincoln Riley can't get it done out in like USC, that's the type of job that Ryan Grubb probably gets. So I don't know how long he'll be here, but I think Kane Womack will be here longer than Ryan Grubb. And that's a lot of things that people say. Like, if you talk to Seattle Seahawks fans, they say they recognize that, and they're like, we didn't have an offensive line, but also we didn't run the football. But that's one of the things. Yeah, 100%. Kalen, what's up? Says, do you think we get a 1,000-yard running back this season, seeing Grubb not pushed from Seattle? Because, yeah, that was one of the things that Seattle's head football coach didn't like was the fact that, he felt he didn't run the football enough. Well, as Joe Kroom said, they didn't really have that offensive line to spearhead a running attack. I don't think Alabama has a 1,000-yard running back. I think they have more of a running back by committee, but I think that you're going to get production running the football. They're not just going to abandon the run. The running backs are already dipped out. I think they absolutely get fed this year, and that'll be a big catalyst to why the offense moves, is because you have to worry about Alabama's run as well. So I would say Jam Miller, put him in for 700. I don't know, Richard Young for 5, and then kind of some of those other running backs for 300. So whatever that comes out to. Yeah, I've been up to I've been up to Berkeley. I remember cruising on Telegraph. I went to Cal Stadium. Cal Stadium was cool because you could see all the big trees. I would imagine some of them are redwoods behind the stadium. It's just a big kind of open stadium, but I remember going to Cal Berkeley. I've been there a couple times as well. I've been a lot of places. It's crazy. I really haven't been doing a lot of traveling nationally, over the last 9 years. But before that, I was going everywhere. Because I used to work on a national scene, so I'd go to all these states and all these cities doing all sorts of things. Who do you think is a better option for QB1? Keelan, Austin, and Ty Simpson? I think Ty Simpson. And I think the reason is this. I mean, it's not about entitlement. I'm just going off what the coaches have said. But also, my own eyes, I think that Ty Simpson deserves a shot based on the work that he's put in. I think that his limited experience should translate onto the field very well, considering that they have a lot of weapons. So I think Austin Mack, this will be a telling year for him. And I think Keelan Russell, he just has to stay patient. And when he gets in and as he grows into the player we know he's going to be, I think he's going to be a baller. But I think the best option right now is Ty Simpson. You don't want to put a quarterback that has zero experience into a game against Florida State. Right? On the road, you take advantage, you take one big hit, you throw an interception. I don't know if that quarterback is able to come back from that. I think Ty, the team's behind him. He has the experience, so I think you get him going, and I think he'll be the guy for the job. At least, you got to give him a shot until, he can't get it done. Crimson Angel says about the 9 conference games, yeah. He's talking about some of the comments. Even James Franklin, I think, was talking about that as well. Hey, what's up, Chris? I appreciate you, man. Bama Nation flooding from Panama City. I haven't been to Panama City in a minute. Kyle, you hear they're talking about Keon Keeley playing a different spot on defense. I haven't heard that. It's kind of like the curious. Remember that movie, what was it? Curious Case of Benjamin Button. It's like the curious case of Keon Keeley. I mean, can't wait to see the kid get on the field. He's already been here. This will be his 3rd year being here. When is he going to get on the field? I don't know. Sometimes it's just timing. When he first got here, he was a different position. Then they put 30 pounds on him. I don't know. I think it's just kind of timing. I didn't expect. I think with LT Overton coming back, it kind of pushed some guys down. But you just got to stay patient. It's hard, but hey, this is Bama. You got to just stay patient. It just takes 1 year to get on the field to prove yourself. Southern Red says this: I was so disappointed when I went out to San Francisco, went on our Alcatraz tour because weather. That's too bad. You take that little boat out. What's the island? Sausalito. Yeah, Alcatraz is cool, but the weather could definitely get rough out there. Hey, some rapping forte? There you go, man. That's what's up, King Grizz. Players Club. Man, for sure. Yeah. I mean, Bay Area hip hop is life for sure. See what else we got. Alcatraz must see. All right. Yeah, good stuff. All right, let me take 2 seconds. I'll come back and we'll spin the pinwheel right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Did you know that you could book a trip to Alcatraz right here on Bama Football on YouTube? Contact Hunter Ketchum for your next travel booking. I'm just kidding. but seriously, hit up Hunter for your next cruise. Sonic Drive-In in West Memphis, Arkansas is a proud sponsor of Bama Football on YouTube. All right, last time. I'll be right back. All right, fam, what's up? We got some pinwheel. Some Thursday pinwheel right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for joining the show every single day at 10 a.m. or as news happens right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Alabama has practice July 30th. All right, so we're just around the corner. I'm saying we're like a 41-yard field goal from the college football season. With that said, today's raffle was $10 to get into this. We got a healthy lineup. This is from Athletes Thread. Remember, you can go to Athletes Thread, Team Fanatics. I'm not sponsored by them, but that's where you can get some gear. But we will do the pinwheel today. So it's important, as you know, to always email me. I'll put my email inside the comment box for if you win the raffle, so I can get the raffle out to you, okay? So with that said, let's do it, all right? Oh, blissful love, laughing at my humor. Yeah, gotta have it, right? It's life is fast. I'd rather be laughing than crying, right? Put that on a t-shirt. All right, 3, 2, 3, 2. All right, here we go. All right. Yeah, Kimberly says R.I.P. Malcolm. Yeah, for sure. Theodore. Yeah, everybody grew up watching him, right? All right, here we go. 3, 2, 3. I always get so nervous on these raffles. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Southern Red! Southern Red with the big win, just edging out Patriot Life. Southern Red's our first-time winner. Wow, she threw in yesterday, came through with a little contribution and gets hooked up. Give it up, everybody, for Southern Red, a longtime subscriber. We love you, Southern Red. Good job. Hit me up on the email so we can get the gear out to you. Nice win. That was really good. Yeah. All right, fam. Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Remember, as news happens. Look, Southern Red is shocked. You just edged out Patriot Life. Nice win. All right, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for being here. Be where your feet are at. Be present. Be good people. And remember this. You could always wake up an Auburn Tiger fan. Think about how sad that would be. Just kidding. All right, I love you guys. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama on this fine Thursday, July 24th. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. I'll put some Rapid Forte on right now. Players Club. Love you, fam. Have a beautiful day. I love you so much. Catch up with you next time right here on Bama Football on YouTube. See ya.